Hey everyone, I was gonna make this a video, and then I realized that's gonna be a lot of effort for this, so I'm just gonna do this live and upload it. So, real quick, I'm gonna go through some settings on the stream and get things set up. I need to go grab some documents too, and then we'll be rolling. I think one of them is gone, unfortunately. Um, but yeah. Where's the, shoot, here it is. And then I guess I'll add some tags. Oop. And then tweet out the stream. I know it through the control panel better, so just do it here. Oh yeah, can I Skylanders? Which one do I hit? I guess Imaginators. No, I'll just leave it blank. Now I might have to take some breaks during this to run to the bathroom, because constipation's been pretty rough on me. Didn't even think of that. But oh well. So apologies for having to take a lot of breaks. But yeah. Alright. Now I just gotta tweet the stream out and go from there. And pull up the documents, that too. Drive. I think it's under this account. I haven't been here in a while to know where I put it. Oh god. That's one thing. I don't think the other one exists, unfortunately, which is a giant shame. Okay. Should. Oh wait, what? That is not my phone number. Man, good job, Google. Way to dox me. Alright. Wait, this isn't even the account. What the hell? Yeah, I don't think any of these are, hang on. Man, I wish I named stuff. Switch to another account and take a look. Maybe I shared it with myself. Sorry for the delay here. Oh, why didn't it just... Alright, cool. Now I gotta close all these tabs out and then get the link to this thing. So I have a document here. I'm gonna pop it in the description, I think. How do I do that? I can change the description of the stream, right? There it is. There it is. Save. There you go. Now you can see it. That document isn't up to date that much, so a lot of things have changed since then. So don't like swear by the document or like use the ideas in the document. Even though there's comments, they aren't up to date, and I need to go through that. I guess I'll start there because I have it up. So I haven't set the viewer, right? I don't want people to just edit this thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll come back to this then because so this is just the introduction of things, and it's different. I wrote this for a final exam for one of my classes. So yeah, man, it's so weird seeing people in this document, unless it's all me. I don't think it is. Also, my last name is totally there, but it's not that big of a deal. This whole thing was made last second, so I wouldn't like. And then this whole section's getting reworked, and I had to rewrite this to be more like a story, so it doesn't really fit well. This whole activating the portal network thing may not happen, or it'll change. I did not know the forest there was dying. I think this place is supposed to reference Persephone's hometown or home place. Persephone's not written correctly. I actually wrote that. All right, cool. There's a lot of dialogue with Spyro that probably isn't in the real. Is it gonna be happening in the? Well, not in like the real game, but like you know that's kind of scrapped. And yeah. I think a lot of this. Oh yeah, the final boss stuff. That's all not correct. Like by a lot. Some of this is true. Like running the pool from the Rebel Maker boss from Imaginators. And then I also wanted to really make this like giant boss that's like Sonic Frontiers Giants, Bowser's Fury from Bowser from that. I want to do this thing with like metal music and stuff and really go hard, but I don't want it to be easy. But yeah, and then I still want to have this thing, something along this like the way this happened probably gonna be more like Superchargers, I guess, but things can change a lot. But I want to do it differently though because I feel like if we do it the same way, it's gonna be very predictable and very like seen. I want to make sure that final fight though. I'm not sure how to balance it. I'm not sure if it should be easier or harder because I feel like this one was way too easy, or the one from Superchargers was way too easy. Oh wait, I didn't mention that here. Going hard with some music. What's this one? Okay. But I don't want it to be like brain dead easy, but I don't want it to be like the hardest thing ever. It could just be chaos, and I want that to be hard. And then figuring out like a story pacing for it. I played Celeste. I didn't play Celeste, but I listened to stuff about Celeste, and I like how they build things up towards the end. I'm too tired to go in the depth for that. So yeah. Also, it's like really early in the morning. It's like 5:30 a.m. So I gotta like go through this. I already typed everything out, so things should be pretty easy to go through. All right. Let's hop into the story. So there's two parts to this game: the story and the multiplayer. A lot of the multiplayer probably won't like. I wouldn't do because it's very similar to Splatoon, but with Skylanders, which is like really weird. But yeah. So first off, well, I guess we'll start with like the open world. So, this is an open world game that happens, and it's interesting because you have a bunch of. I made this little graph here to. Whoopsie. Can I just Control Z this? Yes. I made this little thing here to kind of show it off, where like it's going to be it's going to be varied. It's not everything's not going to be on like flat of a bunch of islands, and each island's going to be like its own world. Again, very ambitious. I don't think I actually mentioned that. You traverse with sky vehicles. I want to make sure that all vehicles will have a purpose though, but I'm not sure how. Not all the islands will be levels though. Some will be main hubs. Some will be for multiplayer purposes. Well, one mainly. All Skylanders level. Oh yeah. So every single level will be in the game as like its own world, but I might die it down into types. I could see having places be more similar themed. That be a problem. I want it to be more of like a conversion than anything else. Instead of like the carbon copy level that's pretty linear that you'd play. Um, so yeah, it's mainly just varied on the y-axis. So like things could be different depths. Like you might have to fly upward in your vehicle to get to a land. Like places could be up in the sky or down lower, not on ground level obviously, but yeah. Story. So this game's story is going to be very different than it's going to be more in line with Superchargers a bit, but a bit more darker. But to start off simple, for the Skylanders, there's gonna be one version of every character. You're not gonna have duplicates or anything, or any variants or whatever. There will be skins instead, and um, this also includes like different variants, like from superchargers that had different attacks, so the attacks could be different for a different skin of a character. So, for example, you'd have Stealth Elf, like you'd have Series 1 Stealth Elf, Series 2, 3, whatever. But then Super Shot Stealth Elf was also a skin, and it has its own set of attacks. Basically, Super Shot Stealth Elf. You can play as multiple skins, and one of each. Coins do get a change, and coins are linked to like everyone now. Um, TLDR for coins. If you have toys, that will be compatible depending on the portal, obviously. What happens there is it just like puts the coins in the game. It just dumps them there, and then it'll find the difference if you go and play a previous Skylanders game. It'll just find the difference and go from there. But if you remove coins from the character, if you spend them in previous games, it won't remove it from the coin counter because that's kind of dumb. If anything, it'll benefit things. That way, having been a one coin counter instead of having multiple per figure, you avoid the issue of characters having like a ton of coins with nothing to do with them, and you've already bought everything from the stores. Toys to life. There'll be no new toys, like physical toys, but there will be support for legacy toys. PS4 portals work with PS5. Xbox One will work with Series X. Unfortunately, Switch has to use the NFC port. Hopefully, there's a better system for that to make it a bit more seamless, but who knows? So the start of the game, it's been so many years since Imaginators, however long it would be until the actual game would come out, which doesn't exist, by the way. So just to say, like, this is not like a real thing happening. This is just ideas and concepts and stuff. But in a realistic view, it'd be that long since Imaginators. So yeah, it's been a long time. Chaos has complete control of Skylands. The portal network is destroyed. Skylanders is in complete purple darkness. Purple sky, purple clouds, maybe even thunderstorms, stuff like that. Maybe thunderstorms. I don't think of it like that, but like to really get the theme down, it would be cool. So there's Dark Skylanders that Chaos has captured. All but one of them from the original game that you pick. Injecting them with pure darkness into their veins, turning them evil, and they look like the dark editions of Skylanders. You defeat them to add them to your collection. A bit more into the narrative. I glanced about it a bit, but let's get into this some more. At the start of the game, Spyro the Dragon from Reignited won't have any of the abilities and stuff of the new characters called Legends. We'll get to them in a bit. Starts off in Artisans being attacked by Chaos's forces, or maybe his mother or something like that. I'm not 100% sure how this works, and like I gotta flesh this out some more, because Chaos got bored taking over Skylands and wanted to take over somewhere else. I've also been thinking about having it be like Chaos sees this Spyro as a Skylander, and like, hey, I want to capture Spyro. So that's kind of the whole point of going here, to get Spyro to be captured by him, or something along those lines, or getting Spyro to come to Skylands, this version, to capture him because Chaos sees him as a Skylander, not as, Spyro the Dragon from Spyro, because we're in a different dimension. Anyways, wanted to take over somewhere else. Behind the locked door in Artisans, there's a portal that leads you to a rift to Skylands. It's for emergency uses only. There's some platforming, learning how to move in this section that wasn't in that document that I want to kind of emphasize here, because this is a very different game with like a camera and everything for controls, because it's an open world game. Once hopped in the rift, spawn in the Skylanders Academy, And this version is going to be reminiscent of Trap Team, but you know, a bit more destroyed and stuff. Where Chaos is capturing the last of the Skylanders and our NPC characters like Flynn, Kelly, Hugo, etc. They'll have actual names like instead of calling them NPCs. But yeah. So in this area, the first fight will initiate, and this is for people to learn about the controls, players, quartermasters, whatever. So combat controls, still considering how this is gonna roll. A double jump. I didn't know I'd put that in here. There'll be a dodge, a double jump, dodging at the right moment to parry attacks. I've also considered adding a block button, or like a shield or something like that. Cameras there'll be a camera in here as well. I forgot the A. On PlayStation and Switch, optionally, it'll feel a bit more like Splatoon. Left stick is left and right movement only. Gyro to move the directions to fine tune your aim. I have considered making some changes. Let me pull up a controller to this for PlayStation, where because you have 3 attacks, right, and a jump, and I want to keep that face buttons intact. So I'm thinking about making the left bumper be a dodge button. Not left bumper, the left trigger do dodge. But I'm thinking on PlayStation, you would use the adaptive triggers where a push of the button, that trigger, it'd be more like a button, would be for blocking or shielding or whatever, and then a full press would then dodge you in the direction, but that might not work. And then I guess it'd be L and ZL on Switch. You know, left bumper and left trigger would do those options instead. But then I've also considered making the primary action be right trigger, because things are trigger happy in this type of game where there's a camera and everything. Having to aim and like shoot. I mean, you do hold down the button, so it's a bit different in Skylanders. To just you mash the button to attack. Whereas in typical first-person shooters, you hold down the trigger to shoot, so it would be a bit different here if you gave that type of camera control of a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter like Splatoon, and then have to hold or push the button, you know? So that's stuff I'm thinking about changing. I'm going to take a break here for a bit. I'm just going to scroll down and highlight this area here so I know where to pick up from. I'll be back eventually, so yeah, I'll let you just read all this, and I'll read it when I get back, though. Alright. Man, I picked the wrong time to do this because constipation is hell right now. So in the first fight, okay, combat controls, alright. I wanted to enhance the platforming feel to feel more like a platformer, but I also want to flesh out combat a bit, um, especially for if the multiplayer exists, because the core game can be very button mashy, but I want to still keep that intact. But I want there to be a bit more than just mash buttons. I want there to be some more skill involved in this thing. So that's why the dodge is there, and I think having parry shots as well is a good incentive to just do something like do multiple things in one action because this game already has a lot of attacks and a lot of inputs on the controller. So yeah, it's kinda hard to introduce things or new things like this. Um, Fight starts with basic enemies, then you fight chaos and die. It's kind of one of those things. Um, in the enemy ship, Hugo question mark. I'm not sure about picking Hugo as the starter character, but like I don't know. I have my reasons, but I'm willing to change it. Unlocks their cell because they're in like a prison cell, and sneaks out around the enemy trolls to get to the top of the ship where the Skylanders are detained. And you control Hugo in this section. I think that's one of the big things I want to do is like controlling an NPC for the start of the game. I like to do it more, but I don't like once you unlock the Skylanders, it's kind of pointless. So like, I'd be down for it though. Why Hugo? Why did I pick Hugo? Hugo is a very pessimistic character, which plays into the game's starting theme well. But I'm willing to change characters because I think having someone who's not looking on the positive of the situation, looking a bit more gloomy, isn't a good thing. And could, make the game's tone a bit more worse than it needs to. And I don't want to like deter players. But this is a stealth mission. A stealth mission. By the way, once it's over, you get to the top of the ship indoors. Hugo walks in this dark room. Beam of light shines on this terminal, bottom middle of a wall, and then the wall will open up from the middle to the left and right and reveal the 31 except Spyro characters from Spyro's Adventure, who are all cuffed to the wall by their ankles and wrist and waist. The portal master then select one Skylander to free. And then when the terminal activates, by the way, the alarms end up going off, so there's flashing red lights and a siren. But you have as much time as you want to select the character. There's no pressure here. They're just gonna keep going off. After you free a Skylander, enemies show up, but when the Skylander tries to fight, I guess their powers are gone. I don't know why I put it, but that works too. From being drained on that wall, so we abandon ship. Where Hugo opens the cargo door and we jump off and fall to an island. Kind of like Tears of the Kingdom, how you like fall down, but a bit more control. The introduction island, Ancient Woods. Sorry for the misspellings here. So Ancient Woods is Persephone's home place. I wanted to really reference that stuff, and I also want this to have a lot of lore. Skylanders has never really been about the lore, so having a story and a lore here I think would really help the series out. The Skylander and Hugo meet a new fairy. I want to introduce some new characters. Hugo says that whatever the Skylander's name, power is gone, and if Persephone's there, as this is their hometown. Oh yeah, as falling, I guess Hugo mentions the place like the Ancient Woods, Persephone's hometown, to go there. I don't like that's a very recent idea, so like I think it would mesh well as you're like falling to be like, hey, go here, you know. Just to give you a bit more reason as to why we're here. This fairy says the Pet is captured by Spyro, who is watching over the place, but he's busy. Oh, okay, that's a weird excuse to me to say. I don't know. I'm not like a story person, so yeah. I don't think busy is the right word. It's more of just like he's just not here or something. I don't know. This is a bad word to use. Busy, like really? Alright. Again, I'm not like a storyteller. I don't make stories or narratives and stuff. So now we go and defeat Spyro. Well, we don't. There's more stuff to do. I just skipped a bunch of stuff, didn't I? Yeah. Also, home of the portal network that was destroyed by Hugo. gets fixed in the level. Okay, so I guess it does. But it's kind of doing something after that portal. Okay, after that, portals will work and toys work too. You still don't have any powers, by the way. Um, so home to portal. Oh yeah, this place also has the portal network there because it just makes sense to restore it now, in like the story, to get it over with so you can access your characters. But I find it's a bit like shoehorning into the plot, you know. After that, we find Persephone in a cage because Dark Spiral left them chilling. So we go find the key and rescue Persephone to get your basic abilities back, or you know, what all the data from the toy. So now we go and defeat Spyro, who is riding around the island on the Sky Slicer, which crashes. We fight Dark Spyro now. That might change like how that works, but like, you know, the gist is you're gonna fight Spyro. Is he gonna cycle the island? I don't know. Like, I'm not a storyteller. I'm not one to like. I'm not good at making this stuff. Um, but yeah. I think the reason why I had him circling around the island is because just to like watch over and see what's going on. I don't know. Instead of being like, hey, I'm gonna fight these guys now, just like let them do their thing and see what happens. See if they can do, like, you know, free Persephone and stuff. Cause like Spyro probably just like, oh, I'm gonna defeat them anyways afterwards. So like whatever, let them do stuff. So there's the new type of Skylanders called Legend Skylanders. They're the new type of characters. These are the ultimate Skylanders ever made, which is needed when things are in this much despair. Once their health bar is red, in typical games, it's flashing out that really annoying sound. I wanted to remove that because it's really annoying. They activate their enrage mode, and they're invincible when it activates. So the animation, when it activates, you're just fully invincible. Where they grow big, bigger than a giant, and are really pissed. So they constantly attack, and these attacks will insta-kill enemies except in the multiplayer, but at the cost of being extremely weak. Um, I want them to look distinctly different than normal Skylander, but kind of resemble that typical Skylander look. Dark color schemes, maybe black and gray, who knows. And these will be the big bad bosses of the game. So these are like your bosses typically. So that's usually how you find Legend Skylanders. They'll be bosses. So yeah. So like as you progress the story, the bosses that you fight will be Legend Skylanders. And you know, they'll also be darkened, so they'll have a dark edition look to them. Once you defeat Dark Spyro, he gets undarkened and gets added to your collection alongside the Sky Slicer vehicle, which you take to the academy with Hugo Persephone, who might fly along with you. Not sure whether they should like, you know, hold on to the vehicle or not. So once you get to the academy, Hugo says a speech that resembles Buzz and supercharged at the start. The academy is also in ruins and needs fixed up by Mags. So, oh yeah, here we get into unlocking NPC characters. We do this by sneaking into Chaos's castle and rescuing them. And for Flynn, you get his ship, and for Sharpfin, you also get their ship. So you get something as a reward for doing it. Like I know, and there's also some perks. So like, you know, those characters are associated with their ships. But for things like Flynn, you unlock fast travel. And then a ship that's the main hub that circles Skylands, similar to Giants. Callie, heroic challenges, I guess. That could also change though. Sharpfin, you get vehicle upgrades with their Shark Pit crew and you know, the ship. Mags restores the academy as you progress the story, up until that point pretty much, and then you know, as you go on. Brock, you get arena battles. Buzz, combat practice and training. That's just like some examples of what could be. I'm pretty certain I had more ideas that I just forgot about when writing this. Unlocking not legend Skylanders. They're in cages in the middle of islands, or you know, worlds or whatever we're gonna call them. I like to call them islands because it's themed to Skylanders more. When you hit the cage, a battle ring will appear where you defeat the Dark Skylander. Once defeated, it gets added to your collection and undarkened. There's gonna be villains from Chat Team returning, and there will be side quest of rumors of a villain doing something bad. You have to investigate and defeat them and trap them. That's very a new idea. Originally, it was going to be similar to Skylanders in cages or whatever. I didn't think about it too much, to be honest, until this. Villains will have health and 3 abilities not to be on par with Skylanders and have upgrades with Persephone. So, yeah. Magic items work like they would in previous games, you know, as a magic item. So, yeah. They don't give you, like, coins or something stupid. So there's this thing called the collection menu and other stuff like that. You know, your character selection screen. Um, when the button is pushed, probably like minus or something like that, minus plus whatever. Um, the game cuts to a portal on a screen. Well, it doesn't cut. It more of like, yeah, it cuts to the portal, the typical portal intro screen that you see in the games, and then it'll zoom out, revealing a TV in the center of the frame, with a table in front of it, which with a portal of power on it lighting up ready for a Skylander. Surrounding the TV is basically shells mounted to a wall where your Skylanders get added once defeating them in game, or if a toy's in place. Uh, if a toy is placed in the portal, data syncs between the game and the toy seamlessly. Um, Whatever is the most up to date. It's mostly automatic if a toy is placed. The data will sync between it. Um, it's mostly automatic. But if it's having a hard time figuring out what's the most up to date version, because you know things can get lower in values from going back to previous games and spending coins or something, it'll ask you like what to keep. But I want to try to keep like the best of data. I don't want to ever like remove coins or something. I want to try to like merge things together, like merging the most two up to date things to kind of keep it, you know, beneficial to players. Um, Anyways, the camera will zoom into the shelf to select the Skylander. Pinned Skylanders will be near the portal on that table that's surrounding the portal of power, which is pretty cool. It's very realistic. That's the point, is to be of a real life place. Um, you know, I'd much rather have a realistic place to invoke nostalgia over players, instead of just having your basics menu like Nintendo Switch version that barely works. And you'll physically see the toys on the shelf, just like the original Skylanders games. Um, so yeah. Once you get to the academy, Hugo is reveal how to unlock other NPCs. They'll have better names. And want you to head to the ruins to investigate the Core of Light, as it was destroyed and needs repaired. The ruins is the main hub of Spy's adventure. Once at the ruins, Hugo tells you where to find the 10 elementals. There's 2 more from the 2 new elements introduced in Trap Team. You need to collect them, as well as head to Woodburrow, as the volcano there is erupting darkness and needs stopped. When you go to Woodburrow, Tessa tells you the location of the 4 ancient elementals, to find and to make the volcano erupt magic. 10 elementals make the Core of Light block new darkness, or like remove all the current darkness. It needs a bit of work to figure out how that works, because I want both of them to have their own individual purpose. Because right now the Core of Light kind of does both of what like the volcano does. Like the volcano kind of replaces the Core of Light, I feel like, in Swap Force. So, but I want them each to have their own purpose. By the way, every main hub will be back from every Skylanders game. You get to select where you start, or I guess what your main hub is. It's kind of weird because you start where you left off at now, so the main hubs are kind of like why. So I gotta like figure out a use for that. I guess in like certain situations where you can't get back to where you started from for whatever reason, it kicks you back there. I don't know. I just want these places to return. But yeah, maybe as like levels, if there isn't a need for main hubs, who knows. You can select the main hub once you step foot there for Skylanders Academy, Woodburrow, Flintship, and the Ruins. So once you go to Chaos Castle. Okay, so this is towards the end of the game, by the way. So at the end of the game, when you go to Chaos Castle, you go through that and find out what Chaos is doing the whole time, with how Skylanders were becoming evil. The game ends and you unlock all the NPCs after you defeat the final boss, or defeat Chaos. Some boss fights or phase. Oh yeah, I mentioned how I wanted the final boss to be like a hard rock theme, against like some giant huge thing. So there'll be couch co-op, 2-player split screen with online up to 4 players, and you can have 2 players on one system and 2 on another playing online. I wanted the ending to feel accomplishing like Celeste, since you start from nothing and have to build your way up. In Nightmare mode, I should mention modes too. Yeah, for modes, very easy will be very easy, or be the equivalent of an easy mode. Easy will be equivalent to media mode, for traditional games. Media mode will be like your normal mode to play, and I want it to be hard. And then you get Nightmare mode, which gets unlocked after you beat the game. In Nightmare mode, when a Skylander dies, that's it until you beat the game. On easy and normal mode, and very easy, that wasn't really here when I wrote this, um, which is gonna get hard towards the end, except for like very easy mode, you know. Um, Normal will be very hard, like bordering nightmare a bit, but easy will be, or very easy will be very easy the entire way through, and then easy will get a little tricky through the end. Will be similar to normal mode towards the end. You revive Skylanders once you step foot on a new island. Nightmare mode unlocks after beating the game on easy or normal mode. And maybe very easy. I don't know. I might change it to be normal mode. Who knows? Or just beating the game in general. I think is more fair, or a bit more like original. Original Skylanders game did it. Um, yeah. Nightmare mode though, it's once your Skylander dies, that's it. In other modes, you have to step foot on a new island within the revive. Or maybe it's a timer. Once you beat Chaos, might make that hard. Yeah, we're gonna do a superchargers thing again, where Rift appears and sucks up the credits where the darkness appears. Is actually the final boss. Not sure if it's gonna have some gameplay before the boss fight or not, if it's difficulty. Coins are unified across all Skylanders, even the toys. So you'll never really see a coin counter for your toys. It'll just add it to the, like I talked about. Now this whole Rift sucking up thing, it's very similar to Superchargers, so that might get changed. Wow, that's really quick to just go through it. Oh, guest stars. Why not go here? So every Skylanders game has had guest stars. This one will have Inklings and Octolings, and they'll be only on the Switch version. And this goes into like other ideas that I have for games. They'll be similar to how in Splatoon. They won't have any different cosmetic look or anything, or be Skylanderified. Nah, they're just your straight up Inkling and Octolings from Splatoon with full customization, like Splatoon. The character will function just like Splatoon, but select specials from all previous games will work differently here to be like the Enraged mode I mentioned for the Legend Skylanders. And they'll be in the multiplayer mode, assuming that exists. Yeah, it's just because there's a camera and it's a third person game, and it's gonna function like Splatoon with motion control, gyro, etc. Just like you like it, or at least it'll at least be options. I also want to bring up there will be like a toggleable option, or maybe like skins. I think it's better to have skins, multiple skins for Spyro, to have Skylander skins and like your typical Spyro the Dragon skin, because on one hand, I understand that some players don't like Skylander Spyro, so I want it to be an option that isn't mandatory. So yeah, when you defeat Spyro at the beginning of the game, that is the Spyro the Dragon Spyro, and then you'll have to find the Skylander Spyro, in cages and stuff, and they'll be darkened, and you get the point. It's similar to the Villains and Trap Team. The reason why this is here, honestly, is because I originally had the idea to have multiple expansions, which are like level packs, but of like a smaller scale story. Hang on, my mom's awake. Never mind, she's not. I just thought I heard a noise, a knocking on my door. Maybe I did. Maybe she is awake. I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to have expansions, but then I realized that's way too much to think of, and I can't think of an original story for characters. And I was gonna have it be consoles exclusives, so like an Xbox would have one with PC, PlayStation 5 would have one, and then a Switch would have one, its own like expansion. But then I kind of thought, on Xbox, I didn't know what to do. Maybe Forza Horizon was an idea, and then like having Ratchet and Clank on PlayStation. But then Rift Apart, I feel like did a good job on stories, so I believe Forza Horizon would be cool having Skylander vehicles in that, but still control very like realistically, or like Forza Horizon does. That'd be pretty cool. Because I feel like the Skylanders racing formula wouldn't really make sense. Like I want it to be overhauled. Anyways, multiplayer. So the thing with multiplayer that I don't like is that it's very similar to Splatoon, so I feel like it needs its own thing. The point of multiplayer is to take the classic PvP modes, not just have them, but remaster them for the modern day and age, and include, have it be multiplayer, to look new, function new, and just be more modern. So yeah. So there's an island called Battleopolis again. Calling a lot to Splatoon, although I had the idea before Splatoon 3 did it. It's a city kind of similar to Splatsville. The reason why is most multiplayer games are buried in menus, and having it be like Splatoon, like I kind of like how it does that. How there's not many menus to go through, like Crash Team Rumble as a pure example. It definitely focuses you on the place, and you can add in lore to that and stuff, and like cool details. Um, the entire place is run by Pendergast. Racing is here too with some new stuff, but it's not much. Like it's not the emphasis of things. I mentioned running the revamp racing. So like the way racing feels, the way boosting happens, etc., would be a bit different. Maybe it gets like sped up or something. The way drifting works a bit overhauled, etc. Just like random ideas that I have. Whew. So, multiple modes will be added in updates every 3 months with a new season, but there'll be new monthly content. So, like, it kind of builds up. Like, at the beginning of a season, it'd reveal the entirety of the seasonal content that'll be added throughout the next couple months. Every month, one new map, um, and then there'll be massive content update at the beginning of the month with quality of life changes, a new mode, and such. So, TLDR on that, one new map, one new mode, and other content I don't know of, like new characters will happen. The game, like there's no way this could launch with every single Skylander that's existed up to this point because there's so many of them. Maybe we can get, maybe, well, not we, because I don't know who we would be in this case, but I like to think Toy Shabab, but this is too ambitious for them to create, I feel like. But I feel like that this game might not been able to launch with every single Skylander if it was to happen. So having to limit for the first time in the series the characters and the element updates, or maybe we can launch with like the bare bones Skylanders, like you'd have Washbuckler, but maybe not Dark Washbuckler, although that kind of has to be in the game anyways. But you get the point. Without like those extra variants, so those would be added in updates. That'd be like the ideal scenario. Because launching the game with every single character is a bit tricky, because you'd have to port this to like Unreal or something. Like yeah. Again, this isn't real. This is just concepts and ideas. So yeah. Modes: battle mode classic, a modern version of battle mode. Last player standing wins in an arena map. I thought it was 4v4, but I guess not. Ring out, class out, classic and modern versions of that. Past modes will return with classic and modern modes as well. I think every classic mode will have a corresponding modern version of it. That's like the idea. Splatoon. So for the Switch version with the whole Splatoon theming, there'll be Splatoon music being played in battles and everywhere else. Of course, it's only for Switch players, so that kind of limits your who you can play with. If you play as an Inkling or an Octoling, you have the chance of hearing Splatoon music. And then your matchmaking is only for the Switch, but everyone will hear the same music like Splatoon. That's kind of how that works. Spawning in on a modern mode. Spawning in on modern mode. So your Skylanders are on portals, kind of like and then the Splatoon characters are on the spawn point lights, like Splatoon 3. So the system works like Splatoon 3 does, but Skylander-fied. The goal is to take classic PvP modes and modernize them to work in online multiplayer games, or in an online multiplayer game. The thing is, I don't want this ripping off Splatoon as much as it does, but like Splatoon does some good things, so that's kind of my issue here. So I wanted to change things a bit. So I thought I had an idea to add in Titanfall 2 wall running in the future for Skylanders, and then Splatoon characters in kid form. Graphically, I want this game to push boundaries similar to how Swap Force did, but push the boundaries of modern consoles and PCs to the limits at acceptable frame rates, obviously. I want this to look cartoonish while looking realistically, or looking cartoonishly but really good at the same time, and be graphically demanding. Again, pulling from Swap Force. Some other random ideas in terms of games, other ideas that I've had outside of this Skylanders idea. I don't think I mentioned one here. DLC multiplayer and story DLC. So like not like paid for the. I don't want the multiplayer to have microtransactions and paid stuff, obviously, but having Titans for all legends as an extension to the character no one knew during this game would be cool. To be like, hey, there's a second part of this, and then having its own corresponding story, which is right there actually. So my original idea for a story DLC would be having a super realistic environment where Skylanders and everyone's on Earth for some reason against some new villain like Malifaux or something. Um, it'd be really realistic looking. That's about as far as I got. I don't know the story, and I haven't thought of any, and I don't know what to do for that. So, yeah. Future game ideas for the series and other stuff. A very linear narrative game, since this game's story loosens up for most of it. Once you talk to Hugo at the academy at the beginning, everything kind of loosens up and it's more gameplay focused and less narrative driven. So having a very linear narrative Skylanders game would be cool, like the originals, but more narrative focus. Maybe a bit more linear. I don't know. Splatlanders, Splatoon story set in Splatoon's world with Skylanders villains and characters. So kind of like a crossover between the two though. NPCs in both games come together. Maybe open world in Encadia. I'm not sure. Single player. This is single player, so all special weapons from all Splatoon games with custom kits would return. Custom points for special. Specials would be really broken because it's single player. We can do that. Like Ultra Stamp would also have would have Bubbler on it, but it's optional. Set balance. Oh yeah, you can set the balance of things like damage values and etc. from previous patches from Splatoon 3, 2, 1, etc. So maybe you want to go back to the version of this weapon that had like from, I don't know, insert random patch note. I'm gonna make something up here. So let's say you want to play Nautilus. You get to pick from the list of every single change it's had in the history of Splatoon and patch notes to be like, and like the version it happened in, to be like, okay, I want to play Nautilus from version 3.5.1 that had its shot speed increased by 113%, but not the buff that also happened in that update where its charge speed slowed down. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. So you can select specific tweaks to be set to the weapon. Or maybe it's more of like the entire patch. So I want to play what Nautilus was like in version 3.1.1 of Splatoon 2. Making stuff up, obviously. But yeah, that'd be cool to get to experience that version of the special sub weapon and main weapon again. And then getting to select custom kits, custom specials, and points for specials, making that up would be really cool. I like to make a Splatoon 1 remake, like consider that, and just put that all back. Maybe balance it, I don't know. But I don't know, I want to be faithful to the original. Or just having like a Splatoon multiplayer that lets you customize everything while still being balanced. Or just doing Splatoon in a way that like listens to the community and like does what the community wants to do. Because I feel like Splatoon doesn't do that. Like, the update that happened recently, yeah. Dimension switching Skylanders idea, and then ideas for Toys to Life. I don't know why that's there. I did have an idea for a dimension switching Skylanders game where you're switching dimensions constantly, and that's like the gimmick of the game. And then I want to do something with Toys to Life again. That's really about it. I think that's what I meant. Yeah, that is. I don't know what specifically though, but I like to see Toys to Life come back, even if it's not gonna do well, Yeah. I thought I had more ideas here. There was one in the past that I was trying to pull up earlier called Skylands that was similar to Mario Odyssey, where it had multiple worlds like Odyssey did, where there were like a loading. This is seamless like Zelda Breath of the Wild, but split up in multiple islands, kind of like the Sky Islands. That was like one place, but like fleshed out more because that's the entire game and stuff. This was the other idea was more like Mario Odyssey, and there's like two halves of the game. The first half is like in a prehistoric era where like the Portal Masters were very a new thing, so you get to see the first Portal Master, a new villain, etc. for the series as well through the entire game. In the first half, you have a new villain through like that because it's prehistoric, you know. But then you go back to modern time with the new villain Malfoy and stuff. Um, Once you get back to present day, that's like the goal of the first half of the game. And then when you get back to current times, it's defeating the final boss and getting to them and like doing stuff. That whole document is gone, unfortunately, and I don't know why. I don't think I deleted it, but like I guess I did. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention the game name. I'm stupid. Skylanders Ultimate Adventure. I mean, yeah. Now, I don't think this will actually exist. I would love to like make this thing or like work with Toy Shabab to make this real at some point in time, but this video kind of, because I just revealed everything, um kind of makes that not happen. Um but yeah, it'd be cool. I'd love to. I'm not a game developer though. I just come up with ideas and I'm not that good at that. I feel like um I just feel like this is way too ambitious, especially for like a first project. Um, yeah, and I could see a lot of this getting cut realistically. The multiplayer would be cut, the guest stars would get cut, and yeah. And then there's like, but I still would love to see how this idea would come out in like a real environment, like you know, realistically in the real world. Like, how would this happen, or like what could like developers like Toy Bob like add to the idea to flesh it out more? How would like an actual development studio add to this? That's what I'm curious about because yeah, I'm not a developer or anything, so yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. So see ya.